What is going on, YouTube and Spotify family? I hope you guys are killing it every day, as you should be. I want you to know that you don't have to fit in. You do not have to be like the crowd. You do not have to fit in the norm of today's society. You can be uniquely you. And I think if you're chasing after a dream, you're chasing after a goal, and people are saying it's too big, it's too risky, you should cut out their opinion and focus all in on what God is calling for your life. You only have one life. You only get one opportunity to really explore life that God has given us. Yet so many people live in alignment to those that they don't even like. They listen to those that they don't even know, and they try to impress people that don't even know their heart. How crazy is that? Just think about that for a second. There are people out there who are choosing a job, a wife, a husband, a career path that they don't want just to impress those that they don't even like. And this goes on the opposite side of the spectrum. I've seen people buy nice cars, nice watches, nice penthouses, all to impress their high school class who just dogged on them. How dumb is that? I think that's foolish. But I think everyone does it in their own unique way. We all have this tendency to care what others think. We all have this tendency to try to please others, no matter how that may look. And I think it's foolish because when we do that, we miss out on the opportunity to ask God what he wants for us. We miss out on the opportunity to ask ourselves what we really want. I've seen this happen in my life when I was trying to go to college. I was trying to build my lawn care business. I was trying to do all this stuff. And I realized doing that wasn't even for me. And I felt like it was misaligned to my purpose. See, I have no reason to go to college. I have no reason to try to get a degree that I will not use. I have no reason to follow someone else's path. I knew when I was trying to go to college in May of this year, I didn't want to. I knew it was not for me. I was building my fitness coaching business at this time, and I had started to see some good progress. I was growing my Instagram page. I was growing myself more and more and more. And I just thought, man, everyone around me is going to think I'm dumb for not going to college. Everyone around me is going to probably speak badly about me behind my back. So I need to go. And I almost did. I remember I signed up for orientation. I was signing up for certain classes, and I went to that college in June to finish the onboarding process. And it was a college in Colorado, the University of Colorado Springs. But as soon as I walked in that class, there was just this peace that fell over me, because I knew in that moment I wasn't going to chase after this. I felt this overwhelming peace in my heart because I realized God was not calling me to this. So in that moment, I just told one of the workers there, like, hey, I appreciate you guys setting this up for me, but I made the decision to not go to college. I'm going to pursue my own path. And when I walked out of that room, I had nothing but joy in my heart. Nothing but all this stress and anxiety went away. Because for those past 4 months, I'd been feeling a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress in my life. And it was because my dad was telling me to go to college. He was telling me that if I don't go to college, I won't be successful. I have to do this path that he took, and if I don't, I won't make it. And this is not against my dad. I love my dad. I'm doing my best to show him grace and love. This is simply to show you that taking that encouragement and taking that courage changed my life. Because in those 4 months of hearing, go to college, you can't build this business. It's a faulty business model. You won't be successful. You're a basement boy, all this stuff. It constantly brought me down and down and down. The more I was trying to grow, the more progress I lost. When I was listening to my dad for going to college or doing real estate as a business, I started feeling myself getting lost in the process. Because I knew that wasn't my calling. I started missing the gym. I started missing my clean meals. I started eating out. I stopped posting videos. I was on my phone all day waiting to go to college. And it was just this horrible feeling, like the most depressing, anxious time in my life. And I hated it. But as soon as I was able to walk out of that room, I found myself again. It was as if God had breathed this life back into me, almost as if God had rejuvenated my spirit, because as soon as I walked out, I became laser focused on my mission again. And my mission has always been helping others become the person that they have always wanted to become through God's grace. And I'm doing that through fitness. Because I think personally, there are so many people out there who claim to be Christian, yet they don't honor their temple. They don't honor the body that God has given them. And I think that's horrible. God gave you this body. God gave you this amazing thing for him to dwell in, where the Holy Spirit lives. Yet, although you may have surrendered to Christ, you are still eating horrible foods for yourself. You're still drinking on the weekends. You're still smoking. You're still doing all this stuff. It's not only hurting you and God, it's hurting those around you. Because if you have kids and they see you drinking, you have kids and they see you smoking, or they see you eating a whole tub of ice cream, what are they going to think? Your kids take up the actions that you do, not the words you say. And when I see Christians living this lifestyle of mediocrity, of unhealthy living, it hurts me. It hurts my heart, because I know that fitness is so hard to manage. It's so hard to lock down. But once you finally get it under dial, once you finally change your life through it, everything switches. You become a different breed. You become a different animal. And I know this for myself, because when I got into fitness, I went from an unconfident, lazy teenager who claimed to be a Christian to an obedient follower of Christ. Here's the thing. When you eat junk food, when you eat fast food, when you drink, smoke, it is lowering your discipline. And what does that do? It destroys your barricade for sin. Then all of a sudden, you can't really say no to temptations of sexual sin, of your pride, of your ego, of your anger, of all this unrighteous living. It becomes so much easier. But when you turn it up a notch, when you turn up the dial, you start training for that marathon, you get in the gym when it's 5 a.m. and your kids are still asleep, then all of a sudden it becomes a lot easier to say no to that website. It becomes a lot easier to say no to that adulterous woman who wants you to cheat on your wife, because you are strengthening yourself. We read in Timothy that God doesn't give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and sound mind. But I personally think when people destroy their temple with junk food and unhealthy living, they're destroying what God has given them. They're taking away that spirit of power, of love, and of sound mind. Think about it. When you drink, you are not in a sound mind. When you are unhealthy and you can't run under a 10-minute mile pace, you are not of power. And when you are so aggravated and angry because you don't like who you see in the mirror, that's not love. So I personally think that fitness is a huge gateway to changing your life in Christ. That's a whole side topic that I just went on. But I personally think my mission on earth is to do that for not only Christians, but everyone, because it is transformational. But going back to college, going back to my other path, when I walked out of that room and I went all in with my business, everything changed, because I wasn't caring about what my dad thought. We had a great big argument about how he called me a loser, he called me a basement boy. It got so bad that me and my mom actually had to move out. We moved out of our house into this apartment right now because it was just not a good environment for me to be in. But I can promise you, that feeling of just being honest, of having the hard conversation, trying to not fit in, take a different path because I know God has called me for something more, a surreal feeling came across me. Because I'm not chasing after the approval of others, I'm chasing after the approval of God. And I think there is something super powerful with being able to chase after God. There's something super powerful with being able to sit with yourself every day and tone out and cut out the opinions of others. Because when you do that, you can actually see everything falling into place. It's so unfortunate because There are so many people out there who have potential. I have seen so many people with great potentials, and they waste it. They waste it because they want to impress their friends. They want to impress their family. They want to impress their girlfriend. Dude, you aren't going to know your girlfriend in 2 years. I hate to break it to you, buddy, but like, she's going to be with a different guy. Like, if you're in high school, if you are in college and you are dating a girl, 99% chance she's going to break up with you. And it sucks hearing that, but that's the truth. That's why you can't focus on what they say. You have to focus on what you want and what God has put on your heart to do. I used to live in that. I used to live in that of chasing the opinions of others, the validation of what the world said. And it's not for me and it's not for you. And I think the biggest thing that holds people back for not chasing after their own dreams, not chasing after what they want, is fear. Fear of what others think. Fear of what their dad will say. Fear of what their mom will think. Fear of what their girlfriend will say. But I've learned in my life that fear is a mile wide, but an inch deep. I was feeling this the other day at the gym. I had made a promise to myself every time I walk in there just to introduce myself to one person. One person. Maybe bring up my fitness coaching business, maybe talk to them about how I can help them. But I saw this guy on the leg adduction machine, and he was there for past couple months. I think he's been trying to lose weight. So I went up to him, introduced myself. But before I did, I was like, dang, I don't really want to do this. I don't want to talk to this guy. Like, I kind of want to just do my set and head out of here. But I pushed myself. And in that moment, walking up to someone new, it was kind of fearful. I was kind of anxious. But as soon as I said, yo, what's up, man? I'm Noah. What's your name? Everything went away. Because before you do something, your mind is going to tell you a million things of what you shouldn't do and why you shouldn't do it. But as soon as you take the first step, all of it goes away because you realized you were being lied to. Your mind is just throwing these lies at you so that you don't reach your potential. And I think the biggest way to not care what others think and not care about what the crowd will say is just take that first step. Take that first step into faith. Because that's where fear dwindles. Fear doesn't dwindle when you reassure yourself. Fear doesn't dwindle when you tell yourself it's going to be right. Fear dwindles when you take the first step. My fear went away when I walked out of that college room. My fear went away when I started walking up to that guy at the gym. My fear went away, and I do remember his name, but I don't know if I should say it on here, so don't think that I'm saying that guy as if I don't remember. I do, and I'm going to go say hi to him next time I see him. But it goes away. I was fearful to break up with my toxic ex because she had abused me before. She had punched me in the face. She had cursed me out. But as soon as I was just like, you know what? I'm not taking disrespect because I respect the body God gave me. I respect who I am, and I respect where God's bringing me, and I don't respect the way you're treating me. So we're done. Like, when you do that, boom, you're better. Boom, you're more confident. Boom, you can actually become that higher level version of yourself. And I think so many people, they just let the fear reign. They let the fear take them over. They let the fear control their actions. But if you're able to take the first smallest step, that fear goes away. I said before that it's a mile wide and an inch deep, fear is. And I got that quote from Layla Hermosi. And the way you can see it literally playing out is if you're looking at a lake, it looks pretty big. You're like, dang, I cannot swim across that. But if you just take your first foot in that water, and it goes up to your toe, you're going to walk across that water in no time. But people never get to that place because they just love staring at the lake. They love staring at their fear. I am a testament that if you go in with your goals and you go in with God and what he's got for you, your life is so much more beautiful. Your life is so much more fulfilling. And I don't make $20K a month. I don't make a crazy number. But seeing God deliver me from a toxic relationship, from obesity, from anxiety and depression, and he delivered me into this business where now I have my first 6 to 10 clients. It's just amazing because I know without him I wouldn't be able to do this. I know without him I wouldn't be here. And maybe that's you. You've been trying to do it on your own. You hear what I'm saying, you're like, yeah, man, let's go. Let's take the action. Let's get rid of this faith, stop listening to the crowd, and go all in. But you can't go all in with yourself if you don't even know who you are. And you can't know who you are until you know God. You don't have to believe in God to listen to this message. You don't have to believe in God to subscribe to me. You don't have to believe in God. You can disagree with me. But just know, I've lived on that side of the fence where I wasn't obedient, where I didn't know God. And I can promise you, believing in something greater than myself and actually knowing that there's something greater than myself allows me to stop trying so hard and just surrender. You know, I work every day. I work on Sundays. I do everything in my power to serve my mission, but it doesn't come out of a place of burnout or high work stress. It all comes out of a place because I truly enjoy what I do. And that's because God gave me the ability to serve others and find my enjoyment through it. I found that my path got so much more easier when I surrendered to God instead of trying to overwork myself. I hope you found this message impactful, and I hope that this was able to guide you in some light. I hope you all have a great day. Thank you for watching. Peace.